Yes. Also, can you hear me?
Yeah.
By the way, I know it's kind of loud in here.
No, all good, Molly. I can hear you fine. This is Zid Manzanillo. Thank you very much for taking time to chat today.
Yeah, sure. Sorry I missed your first call. I couldn't call you back.
No, all good. I'm calling through Google Hangouts because overseas it's just a slight bit easier.
Okay, that makes sense.
No, all good. You can hear me perfectly fine?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Where am I calling you right now from?
I'm actually in Detroit for a training camp
Ah.
for Venture for America. We do this 5-week startup training before we go to our location.
Yeah, this is the one where you get placed in startups and nonprofits and stuff, right?
Yes. In cities that are growing and are still in need of more development. So not New York or LA or Chicago.
So cool. So cool. And what's the startup really quickly? We'll talk about it a whole bunch as this interview goes on, but really quickly, what is it?
Oh, what startup did I get placed in?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be working for a sports marketing startup that works with nonprofits and foundations in the area. So they'll do they'll do a whole bunch of events or promotional videos or campaigns for example, there was a football player that passed away and wanted, and he had a foundation, or his family wanted to create a foundation to prevent drunk driving because that's how he was killed.
Yeah.
And his jersey number was 43 and it was very significant. And the startup that I'm working for took over branding that foundation and the push for it, and they raised $43,000.
Whoa.
For that 43 number. So they do really cool sports-related stuff like that.
That's very cool. That is very, very, very cool.
Thanks.
Oh, well.
And I played in college and film, so it felt like it was a fit.
That does sound like a fit. Okay, before I get too ahead of myself, perhaps it would be really useful for you if I introduced myself, told you where I was from, what I do, and what the research project is, so that maybe you can get an idea of where I'm trying to head to and what the context behind all the questions are.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you. As Russell Crononis, I don't know how well you know him, but as he sort of mentioned in that email, I am currently doing my PhD at Harvard University, Graduate School of Education. My focus is specifically on teacher education, but my bigger question is how do we get smart, interesting, talented, committed young people to care about things in education or working on education issues? And one of the major ways that you can do that is by getting people into teacher education to become teachers, through pathways like Teach for America. And I am trying to talk to people who have interacted with recruiters at Teach for America or interacted with people like program directors for other teacher education programs, just to get an idea about how people learn about teacher education and whether or not they want to become a teacher. To give you some idea about where I'm from and why I'm interested in this, I'm born and grew up in Australia. I became a teacher straight out of college. I didn't really want to become a teacher straight away. I just got kind of convinced by Teach for Australia, which is an equivalent of Teach for America. And I kind of just kept on saying yes since. I started training teachers after that. I've been doing that in a couple of different places across the world. And I just constantly in my mind, though, I think about what would have happened if I didn't become a teacher, or what would have happened if some of my friends who are management consultants or brand ambassadors, all of that sort of stuff, what if they had become teachers instead? And so part of this project is just me trying to talk to people about the many pathways they could have had when they left college. How did they decide on one path over another? And those sorts of questions. Does that give you a bit of an idea about what the project is and where I'm from?
Right. Awesome.
Oh.
I could see how I could totally help answer some of those through the experience I had.
Oh, well, excellent.
Since I was so close so I was deciding between Teach for America and Venture for America.
Oh, well, excellent. I'm happy to start with that then. Can we just start talking about like you can start from wherever you want to, but like just your decision-making process. You had two options on the table, and how did you come to decide?
Yeah. So I guess it's tough because I was definitely somebody coming out of college that was not sure what I wanted to do. I just knew what I cared about. And I was really on board with both programs' missions, which were trying to build up cities that are continuously being ignored, or that's BFA's mission.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's a small business owner, same with my stepdad, and just trying to create things that don't exist already and innovate and bolster communities through small businesses. But Teach for America's mission, I definitely identified with because I'm a firm believer that if you want to create change, it all starts with education. It starts in the classroom. I say my mom owns a small business, but it is education related. And I've done a lot of nonprofit work during Penn in classrooms. I was part of a college champion program where college athletes would go to classrooms and just talk about the college experience in a way that's accessible to just even plant that idea in young people's minds that don't even get that basic exposure. And letting them know it's extremely possible and it is for them. And it was one of my favorite things I did in college. So that's what took me down the Teach for America route. But I think when it came down to it, I couldn't pull the trigger on committing to being a teacher in a classroom for 2 years. I wish I had like a better reason. Just when I was presented with getting accepted into both programs, I wanted more, I was more worried about wanting more work world experience, where like, so in the startup, I'll be able to take a leadership role, and get exposure to all aspects of the company. So if I want to create something one day on my own that changes something I care about, I'll know how to do it. Even though I understand that creating change, you need teachers who care about this stuff, and you need to start reforming public education systems. But I just, on a personal level, coming out of college, faced with a really scary decision, I think went with the more comfortable one.
Yeah, went with a more. What do you mean by more comfortable?
I guess even though Russell and I talked a lot about kind of the bigger impact of the program, and that, it's not meant for people to be teachers forever. It's understanding the classroom and the students on a personal level, being in there, so that later if you are a CEO of a company, you'll understand the communities that still need attention. But I guess a lot of times when you have to make a big life decision, you picture what do I see myself doing day to day? And I couldn't picture it. I had no teaching experience. I've worked in team environments a lot, and with little kids, but yeah, I just wasn't fully confident that was the role that I was meant to be doing. And so maybe if I had been convinced of seeing the bigger picture over the specific 2 years in the classroom, maybe I would have been more inclined to do it. But I guess I'm not really answering your question.
No, you are. I shouldn't give too much away until right at the end when I open it up to your own questions where you can ask me about my hypotheses and what I'm thinking about. But suffice to say, you are answering all of my questions.
Okay, good.
I guess then my question is, how could you, what do you mean by seeing the bigger picture? Do you think that if you were made to see what doing TFA was like in the context of a bigger, what the pathway was from doing that to being a CEO of a large company transforming a place?